Hey everyone, this is Helen from SMB Deal Hunter. Today we're going to be talking with Roger here about a deal he recently just closed in the SMB Deal Hunter Pro program. It took Roger 4 months from when he started working with us to close, and the deal was roughly $500,000 in size. We're going to be touching on what Roger was doing before he bought the business, some of the challenges he faced and encountered during the search, as well as how post-close acquisition life has been. So let's jump in. First off, Roger, thank you so much for hopping in today. By the way, where are you?
I'm in Cape Coral, Florida.
Okay. Sorry, you just
That's what
froze. You said
that's what
Cape
the business.
Coral, Florida.
Yeah, Cape Coral, Florida. And so
Very
that
cool.
is I was from Chicago when we bought the business. I relocated here.
Very nice. I guess first question for me is tell us what you were, doing before jumping into business buying. Why did you want to leave what you were doing before and, become your own boss?
I was in software for 30 plus years, and the uh, software was a great business for me. I'm a little on the older side now in the software game, and in a round of layoffs, if you will, I didn't get another opportunity. For 2 years, I didn't get another opportunity, and so we started looking for, you know what, we weighed some other options and said, let's buy a business. Let me just be my own boss, and that's what we've kind of I wanted to do anyway. Um, so we started looking by ourselves, and I would go onto the boards, the sale boards and everything else. I put some LOIs in the areas that we were looking, and just couldn't get it past that first LOI stage. Um, and so then I said, I need help. And even if I got to that LOI stage, I don't know what to do after that. So I started looking at companies like SMB Deal Hunters, and I basically kind of weighed it down to two, and I ended up choosing SMB Deal Hunters. I thought your tools were good. It was less flashy than the other one I was looking at, and I liked that. And I liked the fact that it was. I felt like the people were very approachable, and that is exactly how it turned out for me.
No, I'm glad to hear that. And thanks for sharing that experience. I'm curious, as you were thinking about signing up and, working with us, what were some of the thoughts or biggest things holding you back at the time?
Uh, at the time, it was just confidence, right? Confidence in I haven't done this before, and I needed someone to help me kind of do it for the first time. And that, or if I had done this 3 times, having a team of people that have done this 100 times, right, it would be good. But for especially this very first acquisition, the very first time I'm trying to do this, and this may be my only time, but it may be one of a couple, or several. I'm 60 plus years old. I'm 62 years old. So this isn't like I'm starting at age 30, right? This may not be what we do, until I die, but certainly this isn't this. I'm going to probably be in and out of this thing in 5 to 7 years. Um,
What
and
about
so
what about just things holding you back from, signing up with us? Like anything
uh,
you were like, I'm not feeling you weren't sure about.
cost is always the barrier, right? Cost is the big barrier. Um, Not sure. What I liked were the tools. What I liked was the promise of the tools. I liked the off-market opportunities that I wasn't going to get elsewhere. I liked the fact that I had been on dozens of these, looking at dozens of different sites trying to boil down a job, and you guys would kind of consolidate all of that into one big happy database, and that made life so much easier. And I anticipated it was going to be easier if it was like that, and that's exactly what it was. Things that were
Yeah.
holding me back, yeah, just I knew I wasn't seeing the market. I knew I needed that, and and but and so I knew I needed the help. The things that were holding me back primarily just I had to come to terms that I needed the help. That's I'm kind of a little more stubborn and proud that way. And then, but once I realized I kind of needed the help, then it was really just cost and cost benefit kind of trade-offs.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess, you kind of named a couple things already, but What were some of the biggest things you got out of working together? Where were we the most helpful?
Uh, First and foremost, just finding the right deals, right? I could go into that database every day and I'd see something new. And I could search many different ways, and I could, um, that was way helpful. Frankly, being accountable, right? I like the fact that I get this little note from Helen every, Monday or Tuesday that says, it's time to report back, and that accountability just kills me. I'm like, oh crud, I didn't ask for an L, I didn't ask for a CIB this week or whatever, right? Um, so it kind of helped me keep moving correctly, if you will, and that allowed me to find this opportunity. I found a couple of opportunities that I put LOIs on, and one that was a like opportunity to this one, but it was in the Rocky Mountains, which was fine with me, and it was $2 million or 2.7 million, which was on the very edge of what I wanted, and and ultimately I didn't get that. I got outbid. I think it closed for 2.9. But it also gave me an idea of what the business I did end up buying should look like when I'm done with it, right? And anyway, I wouldn't have seen that if I hadn't seen all those different data points along the way.
Anything else that kind of found valuable from the program that
Yeah,
maybe we haven't touched on?
I ended up, we have weekly calls and or twice a week calls, frankly, and it's good to hear everyone else. It's good to hear the successes. It's good to see the successes. It's good to hear where people are struggling. After you've heard a dozen of these calls or 2 dozen of these calls, you said, I can answer that question, right? I've heard that one. I heard that one 3 months ago, but at the same time, there's always a different nuance. And I found the team very helpful. I found the others in the other people in the program very, very anxious to help one another. And that was nice. That was an unexpected bonus, to seeing kind of to have that. Oh, I could throw this question out to the masses and not feel stupid about it, and I might get an answer, right? So that was nice. That was an unexpected bonus that I liked.
No, that's great to hear. Let's transition into the business you acquired. Tell us what the business is, where it's located, maybe some
It,
high level deal terms you're willing to share, and yeah, tell us more.
yeah, a lawn and landscape business. It actually is called Lawn Hunters, right? So I thought SMB Hunters. I thought that was kind of like
That fate.
fate. Um, but it's you know, in Cape Coral, no one does their own yard, basically. And so this is a lawn mowing business. It came with enough to run almost 3 crews, and they were running 1 crew right now with enough assets to run 3 crews. It had 170 when we closed. I think it was about 165 customers, um, and a few commercial, mostly residential. And what I didn't, and it's a good business. The owner passed back in
Mm.
August, and so they were scrambling trying to keep the business afloat while it could get sold. And by about October, things stabilized for them, and they've got a good crew, um, and that's great. I've got the same crew that I've had now for 3 months, and that's fantastic. And they're very conscientious, and they work hard, and I can keep throwing stuff at them, and they keep saying, "Give me more," and that's ideal. That was a bonus I didn't know. But the business it's lawn maintenance. I came from software where reoccurring revenue is king, and so I was looking for recurring revenue, and this was a one of many different businesses I looked at that was going to offer that. The But also, the recurring revenue keeps you in touch with the customer, but we also know that as you're in touch with the customer says, "Gee, I have this need. Can you put in 6 palm trees? Can you rearrange? What are your ideas on this?" And I kind of, we'll go down to I'm not an expert yet on this stuff. My crew, some of them are, they've been there for 10 years. And so I can ask, what should we be doing in this space? I'll go down to the local nursery and just ask the questions. And I've found great resources to make sure that we're servicing customers really well. And frankly, there's a lot of profit margin when you do service those customers really well and they turn to you for those extras. Gee, I want to redo my patio. I want to, what do you think on these plants? And I want you to rip everything out and put all this new. That's what often happens in the fall. And right now we're in the middle of summer, so I'm looking forward to that in the fall. It's happening sporadically now, but I understand. And when I look at the books, it's a very regular occurrence, probably 10 days a month in the fall and winter time.
No, that's super exciting. And part of the reason you bought the business was for all the growth opportunities,
Yeah.
right? Now that you're actually, you figured that out, pre-close, but now that you're actually on the other side, are you still as bullish on those opportunities, or are you still as excited about them? Tell us more about that.
I am. I wasn't sure how they were going to come, and they come from a variety. We're in the process of re-articulating the website, and I expect that to be a better tool than it is right now. But mostly it's word of mouth and drive around and, hey, I saw your logo on the side of the truck. They didn't have the logos on the side of the truck. That's something we had
Wow.
to add. So great. We put the logos on the side of the truck. We've got the phone numbers there, et cetera. And we get calls. I get a call. In the past 2 weeks, we've added, I think, 8 customers, which is good. And I expect
That's
that,
great.
yeah.
Considering you had 165 in 2 weeks, you had an 8, that's very solid.
Yeah, so we're 175 now, and I'm looking to say, in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I would expect to add another 5 or 8 more. And if I could do that through the end of the summer, then when we hit the busy season, we'll have about 20 to 25%. If I'm looking at the numbers of existing customers will turn to us and say we need more landscaping. And so if I do the math, if I can make it through the summer with 200 plus customers. When I hit the fall, I'll have 50 jobs or whatever that will happen during that time frame that will be very profitable.
And tell us how the first 2 months have been. It's been about 2 months since you closed. What have you been actively changing things already? You mentioned adding logos to the trucks, which seems like such a small thing, but clearly made an impact, has started making an impact already.
Yeah.
Tell us about what else you've
Yeah.
sort of experienced.
Silly things like get a business card and hand it to your employees. Because I'm not with them. I spent the first week or two going with them 2 or 3 days out of the 5, and they like to work Saturdays, so I'm with them every Saturday. But just having my business card in their hands, and when somebody comes out and asks somebody something, I'll be the first to admit not everybody speaks English, but the crew lead's very good communicator, and someone on the truck runs and grabs a card and hands it to them, and I get a call an hour later, right? So it just silly things like that. We are in the process of redoing the website, and I'm kind of going back to the property management companies and saying, what else can we be doing to help you out? And I've got one property management company that has probably 65 or 100 homes, and we only have 10 of them. You know what? I can stand to grab more than my fair share. So that's kind of where I'm focusing, making sure that we're satisfying those needs, making sure that we differentiate and that are not just cutting, but we're making sure that, hey, when there's a sprinkler out, we change it. When there's a problem, we point it out and offer a solution. And that's kind of new for the crew, and that's new. Apparently, that not everybody does that in the lawn care side of this business, and we charge a slight premium for that, right? So that's helpful.
Oh, that's great. And I guess, how does it feel finally, being a business owner after, being laid off for 2 years? What's it like being back in the game and running your own show this time?
Yeah, I like this. It's right now I've lost 10 pounds in just pure sweat, right? So I mean, it's hot here in Tampa, or I mean here in Cape Coral, in southern Florida, and so during the summer months, and it's humid and all that stuff. But it feels good being on the front line with customers. It feels good to understand the cash flows. And these are all the things that a small business ends up doing, right? And I see a path to double the business in the next 18 months,
Wow.
right? And that is, and I see a path to, in 4 years, have this business be about 3 times what it is right now. And that's kind of the path we're trying to execute against.
That's fantastic. I'm eager to continue following along and see how you keep growing. You seem to already be picking things up, so excited to see where things go. I guess final question for me, Roger. Um, what would you tell someone who's watching this right now, is unsure about, taking the leap to join the program and work with us,
You
or just
know,
maybe just buying a business and committing?
yeah, I think, buying a business, like I said, it's helpful. For me, it was really helpful to have someone who's done it before and people who have done this many times before, where you can turn and ask a question. And like I said, I'm kind of one of those guys who, I'm not the one that asks directions when you drive, right? And this is no different. I hate asking questions, but knowing that I need to ask questions and having people be approachable, um, I think it was really helpful, and to have that knowledge base that was there and that was easy to engage, and you had tools that made it easy to document engagement, and I could go back and search for answers, and that made a big difference. Having someone that said, I won't name names, but have 2 or 3 of your people reach out in the same week when I've shot off my LOI, to just go back and say, okay, what's next? You shot off the LOI. What was the response? Oh, well, they responded this way. And that reminds me, I should have asked this question, right? And so, it was kind of good. When I did something right, it was like, uh, your CPA specialist writes back and says, yeah, that was a great question to ask the customer. And you might want to follow up with this, right? I mean, just, oh yeah, I should ask that. And so it was a nice, not only nice, I think it was probably essential, frankly, if you're going to do it with help. And your chance of succeeding, I think, goes way up. No one wants to, you didn't buy this business to fail at it, doggone it. You're getting this business so that you can uh, succeed, maximize the opportunity, and grow it as quick as you can, or as quick as you want to. And that is, I feel like there's resources and help to do all those things with your company.
No, Roger, really appreciate it. I want to be sensitive of time. I really want to thank you for your time today. And for those who are listening, if Roger's story sounded anything like what you've been going through, then Pro Program might be a good fit for you too. You can click on the link on this page somewhere to learn more. And Roger, thanks again. Excited to keep following along and see where things progress for you in the next few months and few years.
Thanks. Thank you.